Well, this is Baruch here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. We're back for shir number 8 with the shir on the Otzrot Chaim. Let me see if I can get the focus good. I see the focus isn't always good. I'm a really good, great technical man. I'm just trying to put this material out and see I could really use help technically, but I don't know what I'm doing. What the Rav is bringing us over here are different techniques in analysis of the flow of light that is coming from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu to us. And he's introducing all different kinds of words and concepts. If these are concepts and words that are sweet to your ears, then you're in the right place. And if not, trying to figure it out could be difficult. You have to be able to hear the music, and some can, some can't. Some are great at it. I want to talk about, we were talking about the letters Hey, which refers to the ears of Adam Kadmon, and the Vav, which refers to the nose of Adam Kadmon. And I want to just kind of pick this up and see if I can find the place exactly where I want to start. He says like this, that originally the Hey, remember this, the Hey is composed of two other letters, the dalet and the Vav. But at the level of the ears, which is almost nothing, very close to nothingness, all that appears there is the concept of the Hey by itself. But in the nose, as the light of the of Ak, of the Ein Sof, comes through Ak, and through the nostrils, so to speak, of Ak, and I want to remind you again that these are all what you might say relative concepts. In other words, there's no real nose of Ak. But understand that from my nose and the structure of my face, I can understand the flow of the energy that is coming from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu towards us. So the Rav says that at the level of the nose of Ak, there's already a differentiation could be seen. Now this concept of differentiation is really the beginning of creation, because if everything is just oneness, then there's nothing. But as things become, that is, that there comes differentiation, the concept of shinui and development, then you already see creation taking place, and here's where you're at. So he says, he just wants to speak, and he said like this, let's work on this word v'hatam. V'hatam mifnei man nisgalsa raka os vav haramezes lezah. Remember that the Hey is represented by the dalet, and then a vav, a line, a vertical line. V'lo nisgalsi mo gam os dalet, and you don't have with it the letter dalet also, have revealed along with it haromezes the shahar partsufim. So this would take, this dalet would say, so you have the vav, that's one of the partsufim. What are the other partsufim? Well, they're Erik Anpin, Abba Ve'ima V'nuk, because the vav represents Zer Anpin. So, but why aren't they represented? That's the other four. Now, he introduces a concept here. You don't have to memorize it. You don't have to understand. You have to hear it, because it will be said again and again. There were 5 bechinos, and I would add of the word light, because light is the most pneumistic form of reality that is closest to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. It is the radiance coming from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Hanikras, and then this is what the light is called. It's called Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaim, Yechida. These are different gradations of the quality of the light. Though if you listen to shiurim that we've been doing in the Zohar and in other places, you'll see that this mention's called the Ranchi. V'hem keneget chamisha partsuvim. So the Ranchi, which again is Nefesh, this is going for the bottom. So starting at Malchus, let's say the Malchus Dika level, going upwards, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chai, Yechida, V'hem Kedeg Chamisha Partsufim, and they correspond to 5 Partsufim as well. And just listen to the correspondent, because how things correspond, as everything in Kabbalah is relative. If you go into outer space, There's nothing there except some objects, and there's no up, there's no down, there's no right or left or any of these things which we are creating right here, unless you have a point at which you could say they're related to. So now we're mentioning different points. We're not saying they're relationships, we're just mentioning them now. So again, this is Yechida Keneged Erik Anpin, which is Keser. Chaya Keneged Abba, which is Chochma. The Shama is Keneged Ima, Bina. Ruach Keneged Za, which is Chagad Nai. The Nefesh Keneged Nuk, the Zer Anpin, which is Malchus. The Nimsa the Fi Seder Zeh. So according to this, then, you could make a 2 columns. One column would be from of the Naranchi, and the other column would be from of the Partsufim themselves, Erik Anpin, etc., going downwards. He says, Gezer Anpin, hu bechinas ruach. So if you made this, you would see that Zer Anpin corresponds to the concept of ruach. So this is Baruch, and so I just whipped this up real quickly, and you have to excuse me, it's not professional, and I would like to see it in a more professional way, but this is an easy way to understand some combinations of lights, Patsufim. So we have here Orot, or Oros, right? So the lights, these are the name of the lights in the descending order. The highest light is called Yechida, the next one's called Chaya, the next one's called Neshama, the next one's called Ruach. Then we look at the Spheros. So this, if we looked at the 10 Spheros, this would be the Sphera of Keser. Then Chaya would be the Sphera of Chochmah. The Shama would be the Sphera of Bina. And the Tiferes would be the Sphera corresponding to Ruach. And Malchus would go along with Nefesh. Now over in the Partsufim themselves, which is a system of light, each one of them having 10 spheres of their own. The first one goes along with Yechida and Keser and Erik Anpin. Then the next Partsuf would go along with Chaya. That's the level of light called Chaya. Chaya corresponds to Chochmah. Chochmah corresponds to the Partsuf called Abba. Then the next one going down is we have an Or which is called Neshama. We use this word all the time. And then that corresponds to the parts of a Bina, which is also known as the Sphera of Bina, corresponding to the parts of Ima. Then there's Ruach, and this is really where he wants to be, right here down at these last two maybe. He wants to say that Ruach corresponds to the Sphera which is called Tiferes. Tiferes is Zer Anpin, and so Ruach, Tiferes, and Zer Anpin all go together. Then the last one is the Nefesh. The Nefesh goes with the sphere of Malchus, and it also goes with the parts of the concept of Malchus. So if you could take this and just see that how these things are interplay, and they could be used together in different places to describe the flow of light of the Ein Sof coming at us. So that we saw that, and let me see if I can get myself back to a pencil. So we just went Yechida Keneged Erik Anpin, that's what he says, which is Keser. Chaya Keneged Abba, which is Chochmah. Neshama Keneged Ima, which is Bina. Ruach Keneged Zer Anpin, which is Chagad Nai, because once again we put all of these together. V'nefesh Keneged Nuk Zer Anpin, which is Malchus. V'nimsiki Seder Zeh, so it comes out like this, if you're doing this Seder. Ki Zer Anpin, Chuba Bechinas Ruach, that Zer Anpin is the concept of Ruach, and that's what blows out of the nose. Now we had said before, the nose are two streams of light which do not meet. They go and they extend all the way down to the chest of Zer Anpin, of Ak. Wow. Okay, so he said, let's read the Rav here again. He says, we're just reading the light print. Hine mimishmalus pasuk, because of the implication of the pasuk shene'emer kol asher nishmas ruach chaim ba'apav. Let's go. The words are Neshama, which we said is one of the Oros. And then Ruach is another or. Chaim, of life, Ba'apav, which is in his nostrils. Mashba shebechinas Ruach mizgala ba'af. This is to tell you that the aspect called Ruach, which we said goes along with Zer Anpin, and goes along with the concept of Tiferes, which is the nose. So therefore, what we talk about Zer Anpin, which goes along with the concept of Ruach, Mizgalas Minachayta is revealed Minachaytem Daika, specifically from the nose, because the nose is the place where the Ruach is found. That's the first place that it's found in the lights coming out of the nose of Ak. So he said, "V'ha'or yotze b'tzura shtei osius," which are dalet and vav. Now the light that comes out, it comes out in two letters, the dalet and the vav, which are the parts of the letter hey that was appeared in the ear. V'ha'os vav, and then this letter vav shemizgala b'chaytim, which is now revealed in the nose, mischalekes l'shisha alofim. Now he says a fact here, which is, well, what are you going to say about that? He just says a fact. He says the fact is that you could take that line, those lines that are coming out of the nose, and divide them up into 6 different Alephs. Neged Sheshes Hamidus, and these 6 go along with the basic concept of Zer Anpen, which is Chagat 9. Chezek Gevurah Tiferes, Netzachod Yesod, Shuhu Zer Anpen, which is Zer Anpen. Amnam Os Dalad he, so the Dalad though, he Os Achas Bilvad, it's a letter by itself. Hakolala b'socha daled bechinos, which has 4 bechinos within it. So what are those? Now we're saying that the vav comes out of the nose. He said, but there's also a daled there. So how does this work? But it's not divided into 4 Alephs. But it remains hidden over there. So we said that the vav can be divided into 6 Alephs. And he said, but not true, even though there's a dalet here, but the dalet doesn't get divided up. So he said, it remains in a state of helam, which means hiddenness. And then only after that, with the lights that come out of the mouth, yotzes os dalet mecholakas, that's when you see more physicality. And you could see the dalet. And you could see that dalet is not going to be divided up into dalet alofim mamish, into 4 really distinct Alephs. Ki kasher ha'or meschalek lepratim, because as you see the light divided split into more pieces, ve'in in the elam, and it's not hidden away, v'nichlal toch os achad belvad, and it's only inside of 1 letter. Zumora al Gilui Godel. So this is to tell you that there's going to be a big time Gilui here as you start to be able to see it. Okay, just a little bit more. So here we are down, we had read, I believe, let me make sure that I'm in the right places. Okay, he says, Ba'oras ha'chaitim, the lights that come out of the nose, Yotza or makif v'nekiv yamin. Now, we talked about this before. There's the concept of a makif and the concept of a panimi. On the right side comes out the or, which is called makif. This comes from the right nostril. Or panimi menekev small, and then the or panimi comes from the left nostril. Kashem shohoy ba'oris ha'oizen, which is the same thing that we found in the lights of the ear. Now we said that the chaytim is a ray of light, which is like a pole or a straw coming out of the nose, which is in the form of a vav. So he said that vav that's coming out of the chaytim yamin, which is the right nostril, this chalekas the shisha halofim, is divided into 6 Alephs. Kena os vav. So the same thing with the los vav shebetzad is smaller, which comes out of the left side of the nose. This chalak afhi the shisha alofim, it's divided itself into 6 different Alephs. V'nimsa the fizeh, so it comes out according to Les sheyeshnem b'chotim yud beis alofim. So therefore you have 6 Alephs on the right side and 6 Alephs on the left side. Of course, it's going to make yud beis. It's 12. Shisha alofim b'tzad yamin, but shisha alofim b'tzad small. V'im mosiv od aleph. Now take another aleph, which we said we had some formation work that we did about what a nose looks like, that it could, if you twisted it a certain way, you would find out that it looks like an aleph too. So he said mosiv os aleph acha. So add another aleph onto it, keneged the chaytim atzma, corresponding to the nose itself. Nimsa sa kulam yud gimel alofim. So now you have 13 Alephs. V'hu kaminyan vav aleph vav. And what is vav aleph vav? Vav aleph vav is a way you could spell the letter vav. So vav is 6 and 1, 7, and another 6 makes 13. She'ola b'gematria yud gimel. Now he said, Lokamon yizboyer os vav zu meremes l'shem sag hakoilo. So also this vav is also a remez to the name sag, because we're talking about the concept of sag. Now all of these different players, all of these different elements that we are talking about here, they're all elements that we need to know their names, and we need to know their locations. Now let's see, I have really 2 more to do. And that's where we're at. So we're going to stop right here. This is Baruch Fleischman. This is the 8th shir in the Otzrot Chaim. Now, if we didn't say that and you didn't know this, that this is really the fundamental beginner's book in the Ari. So if you're able to follow along with this and get and drink the real purity of what's in it and find it in there, you're really a long way getting closer to the truth. This is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Kollel.